Hey guys, and welcome to our review of Golden Kamuy, episode 4. I'm your host, the Cinder Blaze. With me today we have...
Makotoa.
Alright, welcome back. This show is fun. I don't think, like, the opening, half of this episode didn't have much tension in it. It was kind of like a slice of life in the Ainu village. And I
Yeah.
honestly, saying that stuff, I'm, sorta shipping this, the Serpa and Sugimoto thing, just like everyone else in that village.
Just
But
like everyone else in that village, the grandma, especially.
oh man, it's hell fun with the grandma. She's literally saying, "Please take her as your wife," and you just can't
Yeah,
understand
pretty much.
it.
And he's like, I understand. But oh man, he was out.
Yeah, and probably my favorite scene from that part where all the kids kind of gather around. They're playing that Ainu games, and there's that one with the stick with the three prongs. It's like, okay, I gotta tap this against the window and make scary ass noises. When he did his second attempt, I just broke, man. That was so funny.
Mhm. It was great.
Yeah. How'd you?
This show,
Oh,
yeah,
go
this show
ahead.
has this show has a lot of heart. I think, like, I have come to very much like love the characters, and it's the same reason why I believe our protagonist here left the village. Sasuke left because he cares too much about her
Naruto.
getting in harm's way.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I don't think he wants her to get hurt or killed, and because it's dangerous, So he went off on his own.
Yeah, when he's in the village and he sees how important she is to kind of everyone, he talks
Hmm.
to everyone in that village, and the syrup is someone really dear to all of them, and he can't go back to that village and be the cause of her death. That
You
would
know,
be a pain that would be really
oh,
hard
you
for
know
him to
what?
bear.
You know what? It might actually be because that's one theory. Because they never really said it, but a possibly more likely one because they were setting something up. I feel like this one seems like it has actual setup. The stories that have been going on in the clan, kind of just in the slice of life, was that okay? So for the bear, don't get too attached because you have to eventually sacrifice it. Okay, what about the wolf that she had? She got really attached to the wolf, and it had to go, and she couldn't handle it. So both times she's had instances where she couldn't handle having what she became attached to leave. And so
Yeah,
maybe this was him trying to keep that from happening again because what if he dies, or maybe it was for her sake that she didn't get too attached to him, so that if he died or whatever the case may be, that she wouldn't go through another traumatic experience like that. But I mean, she's already chasing him down, so
yeah, she has the spirit of a hunter, so
he's not letting him go.
yeah, that is a really valid point because it's she's truly alone in that village. I feel,
Yeah.
and her uncle does talk about how she just kind of goes off into the mountains and just does her own thing. She doesn't really
She doesn't know how to do the womanly jobs and tasks, so she'll never get a husband as a
yeah.
result.
It's so obviously she's not in the village most of the time, but
Hmm.
it's yeah, it's something that Sugimoto's kind of doing for her sake, but I'm not sure if yeah, I feel it's just him doing it for her sake, regardless of what the
Yeah.
reasoning behind it might be. But I really like yours. Let's talk about that second half though. When he actually does go into the village, and he's poking his head a little bit too much, and he kind of gets ambushed in
Oh my
that one
gosh.
udon shop. Oh man, eating some
These
good noodles, and
Yeah.
then boom.
These freaking soldier dudes. It doesn't matter who they are. They're the fodderisty looking soldiers in the show, and they are scary, dude.
Yeah, they put
These
a
guys are dead-eyed. They're soulless. You
yeah
know?
like
Just beat him in the face with the blunt of the. Oh my gosh.
yeah, the father was fully prepared to kill him on the spot.
I know.
because he gave him shit. It's like, oh my god. And that's one thing I really like about this. Like every single person is kind of a threat, and like in that certain instance, like we needed someone to actually bail him out. Too bad it was that crazy ass person we meet in the previous episode.
Yeah, the finger looking good, man. Like
Uh,
guy who bit that dude's finger off.
yeah, I was actually like really scared. I was like, hopefully he doesn't have his fingers or digits around him.
Yeah,
Boom, there he
yeah.
goes.
But then they did something else. I mean, I. Who was expecting him to get stabbed through the freaking like mouth like that?
With the
Oh my.
dongo stick, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then
oh,
he's like, "Oh, yeah, no hesitation, no reflex or whatever. You didn't even flinch. You're definitely the immortal Sugimoto." Oh, goodness, the call out.
yeah. It's kind of funny how it's just like he was trying to like kind of lie his way out, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm not Sugimoto." He's like, "Dude, everyone in that freaking war know whose you are.
Yeah.
Don't even try."
Oh
So like, I feel like um for like the rest of the series, I feel like that's something that he can't really pull off. Just like since everyone kind of knows him.
man. Yeah, he kind of is. Can't hide.
Yeah, like the only people who can kind of like hide his identity from are probably like the prisoners. But I feel like once they kind of form their own group and he kind of gets on their bad side, well then they're gonna know about him. So, yeah, like I honestly like there's a lot of tension in this show. Like, how does he like actually navigate and find all those skins without like tripping some wires and just like
There he is.
setting some people like in a pissed off rage?
He's already got the entire like corrupt army out to get him, who apparently are wanting to import more modern guns into Japan so that they can take over the entire district. And like they have believable motivations too. Like the whole veteran thing where it's like, after we sacrificed so much in the war, what did we get? Are you being paid well? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah,
That's why Sugimoto's doing this in a sense too, right? Even his friend, that this wouldn't even be a thing for Sugimoto if he wasn't trying to keep his friend's promise to like get the money for his wife so she doesn't go blind. He wouldn't need that money if he was actually getting paid properly by the government after fighting in the war. Like, so it's this interesting little dynamic here where everyone's just kind of fighting for survival.
yeah, and like it's a really like prevalent and really like relevant problem for the time period that it's like takes place in. Like that war is something that like Japan is kind of not like used to. Like this is like probably post Meiji, I think, or it's just like right around that era. So I don't think like it was really kind of formed as like one giant nation, kind of like had that established central government with all the funds. Like even in like a centralized government, like just finding the funds to actually fight a war of that scale is something that they're probably not prepared for. And like the whole displacement of the soldiers, like there's a lot of like not angst, but a lot of anger kind of built up by everyone, and like just having like this pot of gold that they can probably just like find, just, it can bring out like the ugly side of all these people.
Yeah.
Speaking of ugly, we find out that our escape artist from like episode 2 or 3, I think 2, yeah, he shows up again because apparently Sugimoto and him swap socks.
Socks, disgusting. I love her face when she finds out.
Yeah, Asurupa's like the best when it comes to those reactions,
Oh,
especially like in the beginning where he's like, "No, don't serve my grandmother poop." God damn, dude.
Oh gosh. I love how the wolf just like bit into that guy's head after he was like trying to escape. It's good comedic timing for this show too.
Yeah,
It's just good stuff all around. This is like the episodes for this show are a treat for me this season right now. Like they've done no wrong.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with like just like the strong character development. Like it isn't necessarily plot driven, but it makes the characters kind of enjoyable. That like I could just watch them do nothing for like a couple episodes.
Yeah,
and
I know, right? Like
yeah, like
it's not this. It's not a. It feels significant to them though.
Yeah.
It's not super shallow. The world feels like they've taken care to like give you a lot of information about it. It has been well thought out. It's not just a one-off filler little episode where they do something stupid and quirky or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels like there's meaning behind a lot of what's being said. So in no way was this filler just because there wasn't a lot of action or maybe even like obvious plot development. I think this is character interactions that need to happen if we're to believe a potential relationship between these two characters eventually.
Yeah. And like what I'm kind of like feeling from like this series is like it's running a marathon, and it takes those times to like breathe and kind of like reinvigorate itself with those small character interactions. Like when Asirpa and them are not actively trying to find the skins, like they're doing something that's productive to those characters individually, and it's yeah, like it's really fun watching this show. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Nope, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and check out our description for all of our social media links and that juicy Discord tab as well. Shit. So close. All right. Well, we'll catch you next time, so keep it juicy.
See ya.
Yeah, Drew.
I'm sad that we're late on this one. Like, it sucks when both times was because I got sick, huh?
I don't remember what happened last week, but I do remember. Actually, no. Last week was because I was being really lazy with my editing.